So designers and artists tend to get a little bit prickly when they hear about community collaboration, and that community collaboration sounds more like spec work. So that takes us to last week at E3. There's a new video game reveal, Beyond Good and Evil. Yeah, it happened again. We're going to talk about it today. So let me back up a little bit. E3, video game showcase every year. There's a conference, all these game makers come out. They introduce their new games that they're gonna be releasing over the next year or two. One of those games is Beyond Good and Evil 2. I remember the original game. I absolutely loved it. It came out on the PlayStation 2. It had like this amazing creative world. It was a Zelda-like game. There was action and there was puzzles. It was just a really cool game. So I was really excited to see this demo and see this amazing new sequel to this game. And it wasn't just me. The crowd was pumped after they showed this demo. Like, they had the crowd eating out of their hands. They really had a hit here. And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes up onto the stage, and he's introducing like this community collaboration aspect to the game. I guess he's not just a famous actor, but he also runs a startup called HitRecord. So here's the idea that was pitched on the stage that day, is that anybody could submit artwork, and if Ubisoft likes the artwork, they will then take it and they will use it in their game. And it came out later on Twitter that they're actually paying like $50,000 like spread across the community for the artwork that they're going to be buying through this. As soon as I heard it, I knew that there was going to be some people blowing up over on Twitter, because this happens all the time. Whenever you've got a multi-million-dollar company that goes out there and says, we're going to have a competition for artwork or designs or logos or whatever, we're going to have the community tell us what to do, what they're really doing is getting a ton of free stuff sent their way, and then they can pick and choose. So that way they don't have to actually hire anyone to create that stuff. In the design world, in the illustration world, what that is called is spec work or speculative work. You are speculating that you are going to do this work in hopes that you get paid for it, or hopes that you get more work down the road. So I have mixed feelings about spec work. In general, I think as designers, we tend to have a knee-jerk reaction to this kind of stuff. Whenever we see anything that remotely resembles spec work, it's just like, boom, we go into fight mode. And so that overreaction time after time, it's kind of like, whoa, maybe we should give them the benefit of the doubt. So that's kind of what I want to do here on this video. So I want to just kind of talk it through like calmly and just kind of analyze it and figure out, you know, where are they coming from? So first of all, I totally understand the frustration that a lot of designers feel when they see this kind of stuff popping up, especially from a company that can afford and does hire a lot of artists to create this stuff in all of their other games. For whatever reason, this doesn't make me as mad as it used to. I used to get really mad. I think partially because I'm established in my career. I've been very lucky over the last couple years to get to this point where I have a lot of ongoing relationships. I don't have to go out and find new people and work with new people. A lot of folks come to me because of my website or these videos, that sort of thing. I am very fortunate, and because of that, I've been able to kind of let my guard down. I know when I was younger and I was fighting for every scrap and I was just trying to make a career out of this thing that I had worked for years to polish and get better at, specifically more design in my case than illustration. I know that sort of thing, this kind of spec work, was really frustrating, and you run across it a lot. So I totally get why people are frustrated. I think that frustration is justified in a lot of ways, especially the frustration towards Ubisoft and also the frustration at HitRecord. So I decided to check out HitRecord, see what it was all about. The company's about 10 years old, and on the surface, it's actually not a bad idea. So this is how it works. I'm a YouTuber and I create things. And in order to create things, I have to, say, write a script. I have to learn how to videotape my face and mouth. I then have to say things with that face and mouth that actually make sense when I say them into the camera. Harder than it looks. I then have to be able to record audio that isn't awful. I have to be able to record video that doesn't look awful. I have to create graphics for my videos. I have to be able to, like, market those videos. So if I was producing a TV show, all of those things are handled by separate people, usually. So the idea of HitRecord is an online collaborative production company. For example, if I have a great video idea, I know that I don't have the best video skills necessarily. I don't have the best audio skills. There's a lot of that stuff that I just haven't learned yet, but my idea can't be pulled off without it. I can go to HitRecord, I can create a project, I can find collaborators. we can then work together to create this video project idea that I have, and then we could take that and we can monetize it, and then we could split the profits of that video together. So we're splitting the risk, and we're also like all doing the things that we're really good at to make a better thing. I like that. That idea is pretty cool. That idea that creators come together to create something better using their unique skills. I like that. You go, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and your brother. Did I mention that his brother's in on the startup thing too? I don't think I mentioned that. His brother's in on it too. All right, so let me put my cynic hat back on. I think when Ubisoft gets involved in all this, that's where it starts to go wrong. You bring a bunch of creatives together to make something, that's great, but when you bring in a multi-million-dollar company that is going to make a lot of money off this product, that's where it gets a little bit shaky for me. Now, the prize pot for this that's being split up amongst the artists is $50,000. That's probably about what it would cost to hire an artist for a year. And if I'm being completely honest, when we're talking about $50,000 that's spread out across the thousands of people who are going to be competing in this and shared that way, that's not a lot of money. That's being spread pretty thin, and $50,000 is pretty weak. It's like those class action lawsuits that they ask you to join, and when you do and they win millions of dollars, you find out your share of those millions of dollars is a $20 coupon to buy soup. So the obvious question here is, why is Ubisoft doing this, and what are they going to get out of this? If you asked Ubisoft, they would say that they're looking to cultivate a community of artists and creators and compensate them for the work, to encourage them to create great work. That sounds great, but there are already a lot of great artist communities that already exist all across the internet. We don't necessarily need another one. And as far as encouraging them to create great work, if you're an artist, you already are a driven person. It takes a lot of work and a lot of practice to become good at art. We don't need any more encouragement. We're good at that part. And also, if you're looking to create an online community, are you going to foster that over time and keep it going? Or are you going to bail on it as soon as you get the artwork? My guess is it's probably the latter. Ubisoft might say that they want fans to be part of the game, a part of creating the game. And again, on the surface, that sounds good, but I don't think that's how it really pans out. At the end of the day, the people who participated, how are they actually gonna feel? I mean, it's gonna be kind of cool for the people who win to say, hey, my artwork's in that game. I mean, that'll get you some goodwill, I guess. But I think the secret of spec work, and part of the reason designers hate it so much, is that when we're young, and maybe I did this myself, you participate in a couple contests and it burns you out. I mean, it is really frustrating to lose these things, and it turns you into the type of person who then goes on Twitter and yells at other companies when they continue to do this stuff. So really what Ubisoft is getting at the end of the day is a bunch of risk-free art assets that they pay very little for. Part of me feels a little bad for Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this situation. He's become the middleman and the lightning rod for a lot of this. He put together a Medium post last week about this stuff, so he's kind of put himself into the middle of it. So let's look at that a little bit. I think a lot of people who get into this are not plugged into the art and design community, so they don't realize how frustrating this sort of thing is. I think that's where Levitt falls into all of this. And if you read his Medium post, he says, hey, this is not what our intention is. This is about collaboration. This is about excitement and working on something you think is fun. And I believe him. I don't think he had any bad intentions at all. I think they were setting out to do something good. I just don't think he understands the community. And we get all that. The problem is that everybody who does this kind of contest says that. So it's kind of old, and it's not really a new idea. You're just doing it on a different platform. The other piece of this with HitRecord anyway is what they do is they bring together creatives. So really, their customers are creatives who are working on projects. And I think no matter what creative industry you're in, because photographers will say the same thing. Photographers hate spec work. I'm sure video people hate spec work. Designers, artists obviously hate spec work. So I think all of those groups have the same feelings. And if you don't understand your customer and you've been running a site for 10 years, there's something wrong there. You need to dig a little deeper, do a little bit more research, and understand your market a lot better. As far as Ubisoft goes, not feeling so bad for them. They should know better. This is what they do. They create things. They work with creatives all the time. They employ hundreds of creators. They should have known better. There had to be somebody in the meeting, a creative director, marketing director, who knew this was going to happen, yet they said, screw it, let's go forward with it anyway. Even if you're doing this differently than how other people have done it in the past, the end of that result is most people will do a lot of work that they will never get paid for, and it's going to sow a lot of ill will in the community. You probably shouldn't have done it. So what if you are a company and you want to engage the community? I'm going to leave you with a little advice because there are some ways to do that. First of all, I'd check out Instagram. A lot of people have probably already created fan art for what you're doing. Go ahead, search that stuff. I say Instagram because most artists are pretty good at like hashtagging their work, and it makes it easier to find. If they've created something you like already, go ahead and say, hey, we'll pay you for that. I think most people would find that complimentary and enjoy that. Or if you find an artist whose style you like, go ahead and just hire them. Thank you guys for making it to the end. These videos always get like a really good conversation going down in the comments. If you'd like to add to that conversation, definitely check that out. Also, let me know if there's anything you missed or if you have any questions. That's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in a couple of days.